fire away with questions.
Getting ready for the MAC season, where do you feel you are as a team, and are you where you thought you would be?
We're excited that it's MAC season, and certainly we've talked to the young team that now non-conference is over and the intensity is going to pick up even more. We've talked about the bullseye on our back. Despite graduating the class that we graduated in as young as we are, the bullseye is going to remain from some of the preseason polls. So we view that the intensity and just the conference play with it starting is just going to really increase. I'm pleased that we've progressed and improved since the beginning of the season. I still think we're young and growing and learning. We tried new things today in practice, even now with lineups and different plays. So I'm excited that we had a 10-3 non-conference, but we certainly still have a long way to go to keep improving and getting better.
Is there any date in mind when, if you say we're not young anymore, we've got some experienced kids?
I don't know if there's a magical date in mind that all of a sudden we're going to grow up. Some of our freshmen have had more experience than others. Jasmine Matthews is the first freshman starter within our program right now in 4 years since that great graduating senior class. We do not have a sophomore, junior, or senior in our program that started as a freshman. So Jasmine's the first freshman to start in a long time. So a player like her or Logan Pastor, they're getting minutes and have had more minutes than a lot of freshmen, but they're still freshmen. So I don't know if there's a magical date in mind. Certainly we're getting better and we're growing and we're becoming more comfortable, but when you look out there, we're still very young and inexperienced.
As far as the progression goes, I mean, has it gone as expected, or have they surpassed expectations, or how it's...
You know, certainly going 10-1 in our last 11 games, and in that game had a late game lead and had a shot basically at the buzzer to send it to overtime. I'm really pleased. And the game before that, Purdue. So with the exception of the opener at Dayton, we've played 12 games in a row that we've had a chance to win, and the 2 that we didn't, we had late leads. And so I'm genuinely surprised at our record. I'm pleased with our record. I don't think that equates to necessarily just because we have equal with Miami the best record in the league, does that mean we're the best team? I don't view us at all as the best team right now. We got to a lot to improve on, but really pleased that this team is scrapping and clawing and fighting its way to victories. And that road trip to the Mountain West region with the Wyoming Colorado State will do a lot for our confidence in the long run for road victories.
What specifically has the team done very well, and what do you have to do better to continue to do?
Dave, I think our defense is ahead of our offense. When you look at some of the conference statistics and you compare some of our statistics through the years, defensively we're keeping people in the 50s and not letting a lot of individual players have monster games. We've done a really nice job on star players. I'm really pleased in the non-conference how we've guarded the three-point line. We lead the conference in three-point percentage defense. So a lot of the defensive statistics were up there in the MAC conference, and they're equal or better than some of our championship teams. So I'm pleased with that. Offensively, we're a work in progress. There's nights where we look better than other nights, and then there's nights where we really struggle to score the basketball, and it's a grind. And I think that's the story this year. Offensively, this team doesn't have a lot of superstars. We got to grind it out. We've got to try to keep reading defenses and find ways to score on certain nights. But right now, the team is buying into the fact that if we play hard defensively each night, we'll give ourselves a chance to grind out a win.
How beneficial is it to have the first 3 games at home to help you guys kind of get out to a fast start, possibly?
Well, it's double-edged. It's great to start at home, but if you don't take advantage of it, it sets up for a long rest of the year. And so it puts pressure on us to get off to a good start with 3 straight home games. We were on the road to start last year, 2 straight road games, and we split, and you were nervous after you split that way, but you knew you had a lot of home games remaining. With the 3 home games, there's pressure that you have to do well right out of the gate, and again, with a young team, I think I've said it so many times over the last 48 hours, you have no idea about the intensity and what it's going to be like in MAC play, and keep pushing them to practice harder, to practice with more intensity, because they don't know what's about to happen to them. And it was the same message when we went into Dayton, and they're like, yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach. Well, 30-point loss later, I think they got the message, and so hopefully we're hearing the message on how much the intensity is going to be, ramped up for conference play.
How much has Jessica Slagle emerged? It seems to me like she's really taken on a senior leadership role and also producing on the court.
She's having a great year, and the thing I'm excited about is that maybe our best lineup right now is with her at the point guard, and she doesn't view herself as a point guard, but she knows that she gives us a different dimension at the point guard. She pushes tempo really well. She allows us to play a bigger lineup, and so I think she's bought into the fact that even though she won't play the entire game there, that we're a pretty good team and we have a pretty good lineup when she's at the point guard position. So I'm really proud of her leadership. She's scoring the basketball, but she's leading this team on and off the floor, and I look for her to have a really good conference season.
Curt, is there a particular player who stepped up over the course of the non-conference season in your eyes?
All of them have, John, throughout their times, but the kid that knee-jerk reaction-wise comes to mind is Jasmine Matthews, has really stepped up again. This statistic I threw out, she's the only one currently in our program to ever start as a freshman. I think says a lot in itself. She's defending some of the best players on our trip to Wyoming and Colorado State. We put her on the best players on both of their teams, and that now allows Christy Steffen not to always have to guard at one end the best player, and then at the other end shoulder the burden of being our go-to player offensively. If Jasmine gives us the ability to put her on the best wing or guard on the floor, maybe that frees up Chrissy to have a little bit more energy at the offensive end than chasing around a superstar all night long. And that has added a dimension to us and I think helped us. So knee-jerk reaction-wise, really pleased where Jasmine Matthews is. She stepped up and made 4 threes at Colorado State when there were stretches where we were struggling to score. And so really, really pleased. But you can go down our roster from game to game. A lot of players have stepped up in their own individual times and played well for us.
Is there a particular area that's a concern or your biggest concern right now?
Well, I think there's still nights where we're going to get grinded to a halt in the 50s. Hopefully not too many nights in the 40s. It's just not a team that we've put out there recently that you knew was going to go get in the 70s every single night, and in some nights at home we're going to get in the 80s. This is a team that has to grind it out offensively. We don't have 5 kids typically on the floor that can make threes like we have through the years. We have good three-point shooters, but we may not have 5 on the floor at one time. And then despite our attention and effort and ability to out-rebound opponents, I believe now 8 straight games, we play without really true dominant centers. We play with true forwards. Danielle and Lex Rogers have both have been toyed with at the 3 position through their time here at Bowling Green, and now they're 5s and guarding 5s and guarding monster teams. So there's certainly some teams down the road in the MAC conference that I still think rebounding is going to be a major question mark for this team. But pleased that we've out-rebounded opponents 8 straight times, but we have to do that as a team. We don't have dominant true centers.
Have those areas, I mean, especially the offense, but also the rebounding to a degree, have they changed the way you have coached?
Well, changed in terms of strategy. We're playing a little bit differently. We've added a boatload of different offenses this year. We continue to tweak things and figure out how this team has to score. Again, you know, John, we're putting new plays in today. You know, at 13 games into the season, we're still trying to figure out how to put all of our players in position to have success offensively. So coaching changes-wise, more strategic than style-wise. I'm still demanding. We still have expectations. It's not easy to play for me as a freshman. The freshmen are held accountable and challenged and asked to grow up and mature in a hurry. And, you know, there's you know, nights where freshmen, it's hard at Bowling Green. It is hard to be a freshman at Bowling Green and with the way we coach and the way we play. But strategic-wise, certainly have changed this year to fit this team a little bit.
Given the trouble you've had offensively at times, is it a little confusing when you look at your roster and you've got 8 kids on here who we've all seen go off at one time or another?
Well, that's the way we recruit. We recruit very offensive-minded. We believe top to bottom on our roster that we have a lot of talented offensive players in their own right. Now it's fitting those pieces together. It's fitting those pieces into how we play, but figuring out exactly where they scored. You know, Lauren Prohaska and Tracy Pontius were just unbelievable scorers. But we had to work on how to find Jen Ewell offense and how to find Maggie Hennigan offense and other players. So it's not an uncommon you know, occurrence for a coaching staff to try to figure out how to get people shots in their comfort zone. But when you had 2 players night in and night out that no matter what you did could go get you points, and no matter where you gave them the ball could go get you offense, we don't have that kind of an explosive offensive player now. We really got to work hard execution-wise to get our players currently in position where they can have success in their comfort zone offensively.
How close maybe is Chrissy to doing that? Is that a mental or physical thing for her to?
I certainly don't think Chrissy shot the ball as well as she's capable of, but I think the biggest dynamic for Chrissy is that your top guard defender last year was put on Lauren. Your second guard defender was put on Tracy, and she got what would be considered the weakest guard defender. Now, each and every game, she's getting the best guard defender, and she has the attention. Every single time we play now, you hear other teams yell out her name or yell out her number as a focal point of their defense. And so she's making the adjustment of being guarded harder with more intensity, with more focus. But there's nights last year where she did things that Lauren couldn't do. And this year, she still does some things that we just look around going, we've never had a player be able to do that. And so there's going to be nights where she's fantastic, and then there's nights where the defense is going to be determined to take her out, and other people are going to have to step up for us.
What has been, I guess, wrong with Kent State this year? They usually have a lot better record than they have, and I noticed he's just got a small roster this year, and a lot of players who haven't really played much before.
Well, like us, had a great senior class last year, including some fifth-year seniors. They started 5 senior starters, and I don't care if you look at any women's program in the country, any men's program in the country, there's going to be a rebuilding process when you lose all 5 senior starters. Add into that 3 freshmen left at the end of the year, and all of a sudden their roster had a complete makeover. They only have 2 players back that played last year on their entire team. I gotta believe that's the lowest amount in all of Division I. I'm guessing at that statistic, but they have 2 players back that played for them last year and 1 that was sitting out. So they have an entirely new roster. It's going to take some time for them to put all their pieces together. Our staff and our players believe that their starting 5 can play with anyone in this league, can beat anyone on a given night. Now their depth and their bench is what has affected them. Their starting lineup is talented and scary. Their bench is very young and inexperienced and still trying to find themselves. So, you know, I don't think there's any one thing wrong, but, you know, other than the fact that they're so youthful and have so little of Division I basketball experience within their team. But I would tell you, they will put a starting 5 out there that can compete with anyone in this league.
Curt, would you kind of take a thumbnail, kind of a look around the MAC, and it looks like Miami obviously has a strong record, but some of the teams that were expected to be strong in the West, their records don't really reflect maybe how good they are.
I think their league is deep, as always, and it's good from top to bottom. The East coming into it, you predicted Miami with everyone back, with a very veteran team and a starting lineup all intact, was going to be the team to beat in the East, and they haven't disappointed. I believe that's Maria Fantana-Rosa, and under her tenure, their best non-conference ever. And so they're off to a great start at 10-3. Akron is also loaded with a lot of veteran players, but they're going to have to find their way on how to play without arguably the best post player in the league with Rachel Teka's knee injury. So Akron, loses a star player and is still going to be a force. OU has a lot of experience back and is the wild card, I believe, in the entire league. No one's talking about them, and they're still very, very dangerous. Then the other 3 teams in the East all graduated, everyone. Us, Kent, we just talked about in Buffalo, graduated, 5 senior starters also, or 4 senior starters and a kid off the bench. So we're very young, all trying to rebuild. In the West, Toledo's loaded, with or without Nama. They're so physical and so talented defensively. They give themselves a chance to win every night. They're getting great senior leadership out of Courtney Ingersoll, who leads the nation right now in three-point shooting. And then the other 2 teams coming into the year that were experienced were where you expected big things. Eastern Michigan has the star player in the league right now, Tavalyn James, and has a great starting 5. And their defense can beat everyone. They have BCS wins already this year. And then Central Michigan, don't let their record fool you. They have the best freshman class in the MAC, maybe arguably ever in the MAC. They have an absolutely the deepest team in the league, an explosive offensive team, and they've played probably arguably the toughest schedule in the league, so their record's a little deceiving, but they also have BCS wins. And so it is deep, it's talented. That's not even to mention the other 3 teams in the West. It's going to be a fun race in the MAC this year.
Guys, anything else?